In this episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
I cut to the chase with the Group Director of Warranty Solutions Group when we talk wet belts, damp repairs and more.
And we answer your questions about replacement motorhomes while yours is being repaired, if you need an EICR for Europe, and finding out how many axles your motorhome has. Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Now remember, please follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell.
OK, Matt, straight into it. You were recently asked about the Ford Transit wet belt, and your clip apparently has had hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah.
And you've also received lots of negative comments.
Yeah, the issue is the rubber wet belt in the engine. It's in oil inside the engine, unlike a cam belt, which is outside. And the oil means that the belt degrades and blocks the oil strainer, creating low oil pressure in the engine, and then the potential for engine damage. And they can also snap. So I think they're a bit of a bizarre invention, but they're cost effective, the engine's quieter, and it means lower emissions. So you can understand why a manufacturer does it. Being serviced regularly is really important. With absolutely the right oil is critical, and replacing them ahead of time, I think, is key. But what if you had one snap or create issues? Would you have any recourse with Ford? Well, if it's under their warranty, maybe. But what about if it's after a third-party warranty, like one from Warranty Solutions Group? I asked Steph, the Group Director of Warranty Solutions Group, her view. Now, we're going to be talking about warranty, and don't go, this is boring. I know warranty is a bit boring. We are recording this, and I'm hoping that we can use this on a future Motorhome Matt podcast, so stay tuned for when it's released. But I'm delighted to have these guys here. Could you just introduce yourselves, your job title, and what it is you do at WSG? Should we go ladies first?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Is that working?
It is working. Okay. Hold it close, nice and close.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steph Newbury from Warranty Solutions Group. I'm one of the directors and co-founders.
Hello, everybody. I am Tony. I am a leisure warranty consultant and a dealer support manager.
Okay, so Tony, you're the guy that's looking after your dealer network, the customers, if you like, and Steph, you're in charge of the whole thing.
Something like that.
It's all your fault.
That's correct. Yep.
It's all my fault. It's always my fault.
Now, you guys have been busy investing heavily into the niche of the motorhome and campervan market. Steph, just tell us what it is you've been doing by investing into it.
There's been so much going on behind the scenes. So WSG predominantly works within the automotive sector. That's my background. I've been in automotive for 22 years. So we've only recently expanded into the leisure side as of last year when we've formed a partnership with yourself, Matt. But an awful lot's been happening within that time. We're really starting to gain traction there. We saw a massive opportunity, as I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, to provide customers with the premium product and service that's lacking in the warranty industry, and that's what we've done and we're continuing to do. So events like this are absolutely amazing. This is the first event that we've done where we've actually had our own stand. I know we were with you at the NEC last year, but it's been fantastic and the response has been overwhelming, so we're really happy.
Now, we're recording this live at Van Love 2026, and it's fair to say your effort into this event has been legendary. You've brought Storm, the American RV that you've gutted and turned into a simulator.
We have.
Hopefully you've had a go on it if you're in the audience here. It's completely free. You need to brand it as free and give a clue on the outside. But go and set a time. You can race the Stig, who you also commissioned to be here at the event on Friday. And I had the great privilege of, I was going to say racing him. I didn't race him. I was in a race with him at the go-karting. And it was brilliant. I don't know if any of you were involved in that in the audience. And also Ruby Rides, who's your brand ambassador to the motorcycle part. She was here as well.
She was.
With an H2 Kawasaki, which is an amazing motorbike. It does 12 to the gallon. It's incredible. But you all this investment today was the motorhome pool, which you were leading the charge on, literally, as a strong woman. I mean, it was mad. And so you really are putting in a big effort, aren't you, into the way your brand is perceived by us, the consumer.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like I said, we've obviously got the partnership with yourself. We've put together truly market-leading products, and in some cases, they're actually better than the manufacturer's original warranty on new vehicles. We'd like to be put to the test on this as well. So if there is something that you believe that we should be covering, as long as it makes sense, then we will add it into our product if it's missing.
Well, we're going to talk about the product range and the product offering in a minute. But alongside everything else we've been talking about, you've also launched a magazine.
We have.
We're on issue 2.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
Right, okay. So it started as a small idea, as a lot of these things do,
Yeah.
and very quickly it expanded. It's called The Great Motorhome Guide. We haven't got one here, have we? Okay, we've got a few copies on the stand. Tiff, over in the audience there, she's got some. So come and grab your free copy. But this is I think it's a 28-page magazine, this one. We have got all sorts of content in there, from things like the best woodland walks for summer. We've got motorhome maintenance tips. We've got a feature from Matt. We've got a great competition in there where you can win a £1,000 travel voucher. There's all sorts in there. So come and pick up your free copy. It's been really successful, and actually we've had a really good response from dealers as well, who have been looking to advertise in it, which we hadn't planned for.
Right,
But
okay.
it was a great curveball to have.
Well,
So,
there's a good sign. And now you're a partner as well to the Caravan and Motorhome Club, aren't you, as the official
We are.
warranty partner for them?
yes, so we've actually just launched, as of a few weeks ago, we've just launched a market-leading caravan warranty product with them. And that's going really well too. So the response has been amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the warranty itself. As I say, I make no apology for the fact that warranty is boring. I mean, do you have to have one? Yeah, it's kind of optional, isn't it? When you buy a new motorhome or camper van, it comes with the manufacturer warranty, which is not always what it's cracked up to be. And I'm sure there are people here in the audience and watching this that have had real problems trying to make a claim from the motorhome manufacturer provider and under their cover.
Yep.
Can I put a Warranty Solutions Group product on a brand new motorhome from new alongside the manufacturer's warranty, mainly because your hourly rate is higher? Can I do that?
Well, you could take it out to start from the end of the manufacturer warranty. At the moment, we don't have that in place. We could possibly consider that.
Right, okay.
You've just thrown a curveball there.
Oh, have I? I love doing that. That's not the last. That's not the first.
Sure it's not.
So is it because of the issue of co-insurance? Is that
Yes,
why?
exactly
Right, so
that.
this is an insurance product. Okay, that's interesting for me because I thought I could take one while I've got a manufacturer warranty in play. So the Fiat extended warranty offer has stopped. Some of you may be familiar with the fact if you've got a Fiat chassis, you could, within, I think, the first week or two of ownership, extend the warranty from 2 or 3 years, depending on where it was built. If it's European motorhome, it's 2 years. If it's a UK, like an Auto Trail, it's 3. But you could extend that up to 5 years. And it would have a significant cost, but Fiat have withdrawn it. And I'm waiting for news of whether they're going to reinstate it. But it's the case, isn't it, that I could put your product on it to cover the Fiat side or the Citroen side or
Yes.
the Ford Transit side from the point that warranty ends after 2 years.
Absolutely.
So where do you differ then as a warranty supplier to the other names that we might be familiar with in the market? How are you different?
Okay, so I'd like to talk about WSG's history and how we came about.
Sure.
So as I said, I've been in the warranty industry, specifically automotive, for 22 years. That's been most of my career, to be fair, and I love it. I live and breathe my job, and hopefully that comes through. So 5 years ago, myself and my co-director, we decided to form a brand new company and do things completely differently. We were tired of of the bureaucracy and the red tape and all of the inflexibility with other warranty providers, and we knew that we could do it so much better, and that's exactly what we did. So 5 years on, we're now the UK's leading warranty company. We work with just under 3,000 dealers across the UK. We support hundreds of thousands of motorists every year. We've just expanded into Europe. I mean, it's mad what's happened. But that is testament to what we've done here.
But that is all about, though, the consumer getting the best product possible, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
I'm going to bring you in, Tony, to talk about this. Now, I must warn you, Tony comes with subtitles Where's your home city, Tony?
My hometown is Cushendall on the Antrim coast. Now, that's where I live, not where I come from.
Now, as long as you speak slowly, we've got a chance of understanding this beautiful Irish accent that you're blessed with. Tony, you cover 6,000 parts on a motorhome. You counted them.
Yes.
In the policy booklet.
A long week it took.
Can I throw a few parts at you and tell me yes or no?
Yes.
I know for a fact that when you launched this product, motorhome taps were not covered. Now, our motorhome tap failed. It has a micro switch in it, stopped working. And I said, oh, so you wouldn't cover my tap, but these fail all the time. So you introduced cover of the taps, didn't you?
That's correct, yes. Yes, that's correct.
So we know taps are covered. What about a motorhome fridge? They fail a lot, and they can be £2,500 to replace.
They do, yes. We cover the motorhome fridges. We cover the ECU units that control the conversions within them, so we can look at all the parts of the fridge, yes.
And what about, I am going to throw some at you that you're not expecting, the control panel in the motorhome?
Control panels are covered, yes. They're an
I
electronic item.
So we just paid out to replace one. It was £500, and the motorhome didn't have a warranty. And I chose to, as the dealer that sold it, the warranty has expired, and I said, well, I will pay toward that. So I, out the goodness of my heart, and they now have a warranty with you, and hopefully the control panel won't go again. A big one. Anyone here with a Ford Transit motorhome? A few. The wet belt. So this has been a contentious issue and is a big reason that people are scared of owning a Ford Transit, because the wet belt degradation, this is the belt inside the engine, like a cam belt, and it lives in oil. I think it's a stupid design. It was done for cost and emissions output and noise. It's all far more efficient, but it's a useless idea. Engine failure as a result of a wet belt degradation. Do you cover it?
We will cover a wet belt as long as the servicing has been maintained with it, what Ford say. So you have to have the vehicle serviced, make sure there's the right oil, and then the failure technically shouldn't happen. But if it does, we will be there. We will be there to look after you.
Technically shouldn't happen, but delivery drivers are having a nightmare with this.
Yes.
But you would cover the replacement belt, which is probably a notional cost.
Yes.
It's the labour.
It is the labour, but it all comes under the claim. So if you have an issue, we will look at the full claim, and then we will advise if we're able to assist, what we're able to assist with.
And what about ensuing damage? So the engine's failed because the oil filter's been blocked, and therefore the engine is seized. What about that?
So the filter, it doesn't block the filter, it blocks the pump.
Sorry, it's the pump,
Yep, the pump. So it blocks the pump. So yes, we will look at the consequential damage that has happened to the vehicle. Each claim we look at every individual claim. It's not AI, it's not a computer. It is literally a claims engineer looks at each individual claim to make sure that we are fair to every customer.
So you would pay toward the cost of a replacement engine?
We will look at all the
That's important to say
claims.
there's a cap, isn't it, on how much the claim you'll pay out as a limit?
Yes, so and I've got to put it, so each claim has a £5,000 claim limit.
£5,000. That's nearly a Transit engine.
Yeah. So it's, if you imagine every trip to the dealer or to the garage, we will look at a £5,000. So you could have multiple claims, and we will run up to that point. And then overall, we will pay up to the the current market value of the vehicle.
So over what term? For
the 12 months.
So you can have a multiple number of £5,000 claims up to the value of the vehicle.
That's
so
correct.
my vehicle's 50 grand, say, I can have 10 claims a year at 5 grand.
You could, yep.
And how much is a policy cost?
For example, you're 3.5 ton.
Yeah.
And it's under 7 years and under 70,000 miles from memory, so it'll be 499. And then with the Motorhome Matt discount, 499.
Yeah.
And then with the Motorhome Matt discount, you'll get percentage off that.
We get 5% off that for the first year of cover.
Yep.
10%.
10%.
It was 5. We've upped it to 10. You just keep on giving. You need to stop, Steph. You need to keep some back.
But both of you keep throwing curveballs at the minute.
So I can make 50 grand's worth of claims, and I've only paid out 500 quid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's peace of mind right there, surely.
Absolutely. We are here for the, oh no, this has happened moments.
How do you make any money?
That's for the directors. I'm just here to sell the product.
But Steph, how do you make money?
It's based on volume, isn't it?
Yeah,
of course. So,
of course.
You know, we work with nearly 3,000 dealers. We're selling 100,000.
So are you
policies
lumping the
every year.
motorhome bit in with the car bit as well? Because the car bit's massive for you, isn't it?
It's treated completely separately. We've got a separate division and everything else, which obviously Tony is involved in. So not every motorhome is going to go wrong. We can't say it will.
No.
And generally speaking, motorhomes are pretty reliable. but there is always
Generally,
that risk.
I
But
guess
it's the same with anything, isn't it?
I guess the risk is when it goes wrong, it can get very expensive very
That's
quickly.
the problem.
And a big one is damp. So water ingress, the enemy of the motorhome. Water's getting in the body through the seals, and I've got damp in my motorhome. I know that you need to have an MOT up to date, habitation checks done annually,
Yep.
and you're monitoring mileage. Having seen the claims process, and you're right, it's not AI, it's a lovely man called Dennis and his team, and I have an episode in the past which we did with Dennis on how a claim is processed, and it's interesting, and I thank you again for letting us be on the scenes.
You're very welcome.
I don't think that's ever been publicised before, but damp is a massive issue. Do you cover damp?
Absolutely.
So you cover water ingress. What about ensuing consequential damage from the damp?
Yes, absolutely. So it's up to £5,000.
So this is nuts. So my window has leaked. Oh, well, we have a live example, don't we?
We do, absolutely.
Recently in the podcast. Well, no, it's not come out yet. We recorded it last week. It's coming out very soon. There's a gentleman called Jim, bought your product because of my recommendation, and was, to quote him, he was disgusted that the window cracking on his motorhome was not going to be covered, and you had declined the claim because windows very typically are not covered by any warranty company.
Correct.
Windows or glass. And so he got in touch with me and complained. I got in touch with you and said, look, he made a point that there's lots of windows on a motorhome. They are prone to crazing and becoming fractured. What did you do? What was your response?
We agreed to add them into our product and updated the book the next day.
And paid Jim for his claim.
Yes.
So a complete U-turn on his claim. So he's over the moon. So now windows are covered in a Warranty Solutions cover.
Yes, absolutely.
But one of the things I love, Steph, and really seriously, not because you're in front of me, but we've had a number of things like this, haven't we, where we've kind of evolved the product. And when Steph says, oh, it will go in the next edition of the book, it's not next year. It literally is tomorrow. I mean, you're just on it.
We move quickly.
You do move really quickly. That's very true. So some of the other things that motorhomers are fearful of are the mechanical stuff like a starter motor. There's a motorhome here. The starter motor has failed. It's actually owned by Guy, who runs Van Love, and he sold it, and it's got a failed starter motor. Do you cover that?
Yes, we certainly cover that too. Yep, and the diagnosis of it in case it isn't the starter motor.
Okay.
So if it isn't the starter motor, what we do is the claims process is you take the vehicle to a repairer, your repairer of choice, as long as they're VAT registered. They carry out the diagnosis. Before any repairs are done, they give us a call. We can then have a chat, and then you know as the customer exactly what we're able to assist with.
And is there a limit on the diagnosis? Because that can be quite expensive.
We usually look up to around an hour of diagnosis, and then we will assess it after that.
Right, okay.
So the diagnosis has to be part of a valid claim. I will admit
Right.
that.
Interesting. What about aircon units? Because they can fail as well, air conditioning.
Yes, as long as there's no damage, and we don't pay for regassing because that's claimed as a serviceable
Fair
item.
enough. That's very much wear and tear, isn't it?
And as long as the condenser, for example, hasn't been hit during coming out of a field or something, because that's classed as damage.
Now, I use the phrase there, wear and tear, and I think the assumption is, by many of us here listening to this and watching this, is that the way you wriggle out of a claim is wear and tear. Is that true?
We cover our parts. Any stated part that we cover is covered for wear and tear, failure for wear and tear, and the new product.
So, what is wear and tear, Tony?
So wear and tear is a part that has failed prematurely, that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
So if you take possibly a suspension component, we will look after that. If it's
And on a motorhome, if it's failed in the first, 5 years of its life, it's done 15,000 miles, I would assume that suspension part's built to do 100,000 miles, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So is that the context that you look at this?
Yep, that's the way we'll be looking at it, yes. And as long as it's not a perishable item.
Now, I seem to recall as well, I remember there was a gearbox that had failed on a motorhome. And this was exactly your approach, wasn't it? You deemed that it had failed early and you covered it. You paid out.
That's correct, yes.
And that was an expensive claim, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
How much was that?
12,000.
I think that was the 12,000 one, wasn't it?
£12,000, yeah.
That's amazing.
That was our biggest motorhome claim to date.
Deep breath. Deep breath. So, do you know off the top of your head the prices of the other products? So you mentioned the 3.5 ton.
So 3.5 ton off the top of my head is 499.
Yeah.
If you're up to 7.5 ton, it is 799.
Right.
And then above that is 1199.
1199. That it's a pretty big motorhome to be 7.5 ton.
Yeah, that's it.
We've got a lot of overland vehicles here, and owners with real challenges in their underpant department, I think. I joke because I can see one walking past. But do you cover product like that? I mean, when they go wrong, that's very expensive.
It is expensive. If it's over the 7.5 ton, yes, we will look at it.
That's amazing. So, yeah, please add to it.
So obviously we were talking earlier, because these vehicles are incredibly expensive and they probably have a lot more than what a normal motorhome would have.
Yeah.
We are looking at developing a bespoke product just for these types of
For
vehicles.
overland,
Yes,
yeah, because
so-
some of them are 300-400k.
Yes. So this
Or
would
more.
have higher claim limits, higher labour rates, all of that to service that vehicle.
So can you just talk about labour rates, Steph? And I mentioned earlier about main dealer rates being greater than a manufacturer's warranty will usually pay out.
Yep.
There are some exceptions. Cartago are very good at looking at the dealer rate and paying it. But what do you offer? I know you offer a main dealer rate. Can you explain that?
Yes, so as standard, we pay up to £75 plus VAT per hour. The option of main dealer rates is there too. So I think it's an extra £130 off the top of my head.
On top of the annual premium?
On top,
Yeah.
yes. But that means that you can take it to any main dealer or specialist and we will pay whatever that rate is. So if it's
So
£200 an hour,
you pay it?
we'd pay it. Yeah.
And I get that for 130 quid a year?
I think it's 130 off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, that's a no-brainer. Is there any other bolt-ons that I could buy?
No, because the product is so advanced, there is nothing else.
It's just
And I'm not
all-inclusive.
just saying that, it really has been built from the ground up with your input.
Yes.
And we keep adding, we keep finding
do.
things to add.
Well, last week, the windows.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the fact you're now covering those is remarkable because they fail a lot under warranty.
Yeah.
And as they get older, they can crack as well.
Yeah.
Another big issue that we face as consumers, and you may not have an easy answer to this, but is getting hold of parts. And often I think it's the dealer is sat on on their laurels trying to process it. Are you going to suffer the same issue if I need a replacement window? Are you at the mercy of that manufacturer?
No, we're not at the mercy of manufacturers. We have done deals with other car and van and lorry, but depending on what the chassis is based on, we can use, if you want to talk, non-genuine parts, but they will be of a reasonable quality. So we will make sure that your vehicle will be on the road as quick as possible.
So you're happy that a non-original part is fitted, but is up to the spec of the original?
Yes, that's correct.
And get you back on the road more quickly?
Well, that's it. Especially with motorhomes, they're people's livelihoods, or not livelihoods, they're people's choices for leisure.
It's our leisure
and everything
time,
else.
yeah.
It's your leisure time.
It's my holiday.
And I had an example today where someone was off the road for 9 weeks waiting for a part.
Right.
And that because it came from a manufacturer, the seasons here are very short. If you're in Ireland, they're even shorter. 9 weeks being off the road, so that's at least a third. That's the summer gone and a third of the holiday season. Let's be honest, and that's you.
Can I just add to that? Yep. So this actually came up with us a few months ago. Do you remember with the issue of motorhomes being stuck in the repairer?
Yes.
If the parts aren't available.
Yes.
So what we have actually agreed to do, and again, this is another unique for any warranty company. We have agreed to pause the warranty whilst the motorhome is undergoing the repairs for it to be restarted once the part has been
Well, I
fitted.
regularly got asked this because during the pandemic, people said, well, my motorhome's off the road and the warranty's ticking and running out. And then other people said, well, yeah, mine's been in the repair shop for 3 months waiting parts, but you will extend the end term, won't you? The end date. That's for you need the confirmation from the dealer.
Yes.
But I think that's remarkable because let's face it, even when the motorhome is parked up, that bits are still subject to wear, paint, for example, and windows because they're in the sun. But you're prepared to still cover them for the period it was off the road.
Yes.
That is incredible. I think these guys need a really big round of applause. Can we say a massive thank you to Steph and Tony from Warranty Solutions Group for joining me here. Thank you, guys.
Bless you.
It
Thank
is
you.
a fantastic product. It really is. I love innovation. I'm well known for craving it, and I really have found it with you guys. And I want to say a massive thank you as well for putting all the effort that you've done for this weekend. The motorhome pool today was hilarious. It was amazing and brilliant to watch. The fact you did it with a cigarette in your hand.
That was your fault.
It really amused me. And we were doing it for charity, for the Children's Memorial Garden. We have smashed the target, which we're over the moon with, aren't we? So
Thank you, everybody.
That's Steph Newbury, Group Director at Warranty Solutions Group. Wow, Matt, these guys seem too good to be true, to be honest with you. They seem to cover everything.
It is true. Yeah, they are great. They are really blazing a trail.
Trailing a blaze?
Trailing a blaze, yeah. They are pioneering innovation in this niche of the market. Warranty is something that gets kind of a really bad rep. It's not exciting to talk about, is it really? Let's be honest.
Well, when you're buying a car and something, we've got a warranty. Don't want
that. But I think the peace of mind it gives you is second to none. And the reality is, if something goes wrong on your motorhome or camper van, it can be really expensive. A wet belt is not cheap. If that snaps or causes an issue, the on costs are massive. So Warranty Solutions Group, the fact they cover it, I think is fantastic. Their policy is amazing. It's the best I've seen out there by far, and I've read all the policy books of all the offerings, and they are brilliant. They're fairly new to our market, and it was great to have a chat with Steph at Van Love. Thanks for doing that, Steph. And even there, they've made a real difference. They were sponsoring the event, and they brought the Stig along. The Stig and I are both brand ambassadors, as is Ruby Rides. They invited them along, and we did the go-kart championship. It was brilliant fun, really good. And then Steph herself is a world strong woman, as is her husband, and they were dragging a motorhome up and down the racetrack, all for charity. So they're not just a warranty provider, they really are engaging with us as a community. They're making a massive difference, and their customers are having a really good experience, and they're innovating, and I'm a big fan of that. So if you're interested in buying an aftermarket warranty, you can find out more about all of the warranties that Warranty Solutions Group offer. Just head to mhmp.info/WSG and get 10% off with the code MATT10, that's MATT10, or Motorhome Matt. Both work. Use that and get 10% off. So big saving.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Get 15% off your premium with Ripe. The discount applies automatically if you click the link in the episode description.
It's the Q&A, the questions and answers. You ask the questions, Motorhome Matt. He will give you the answer. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll ask somebody who does. And we welcome back to the podcast somebody who is questioning us on a lot.
A regular basis.
It's Colin Coulthard in Harrow. Harrow, Colin.
Hi, Matt. Colin from Harrow again. I have a question about warranty issues. Our motorhome suddenly lost power driving up to the NEC. It was recovered to the Ford dealer, who identified a problem with one of the modules. They've replaced that, but now say there's a problem programming the system. They can't solve it, and they've asked Ford Technical for assistance. It's been over a week now, and Ford haven't got back to them. And although they say they're chasing them, they've got no idea when the matter will be resolved. Meanwhile, we don't have the motorhome for use. Is there any claim we can make, or can we hire a replacement vehicle while it's with them? Appreciate your comments on this. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Colin. Well, what's your answer?
Always good to hear from you, Colin. And it was great to see you at the show last weekend. I very much doubt you will get the cost of a replacement vehicle covered by a warranty provider or even your insurer in this circumstance. This type of problem feels acute as we lose not just the vehicle but our leisure time in it, and it's really frustrating. Even the Ford dealer probably wouldn't have a solution for you, as they generally don't stock motorhomes that are available, to lend out on a hire basis. You could, of course, go and hire one, but the cost is going to be yours. I'm afraid you're probably going to have to suck that up. And even the supplying dealer, so whoever you bought it from, I doubt they've got an ability or even a willingness to help you here. But again, this is where you see an aftermarket warranty is probably got the edge, because if you were having a warranty from WSG running alongside of this, I guarantee you they'd be working quicker than it seems Ford are. And that may be a reason for buying an aftermarket. The fact you don't have to take it to the Ford dealer, you could take it to a local auto electrician or specialist that would probably be able to look into this more quickly than Ford are able to. I don't know, but that may be a solution for you. But yeah, I'm afraid hiring one, no, probably not an option. All you can do is become an awkward customer and turn up and keep knocking on their door and be a pain and encourage and motivate them to try and get this to the top of their list.
Paul Healy is in Waltham Cross. Apparently, an annual EICR, the Electrical Installation Condition Report, and a PIR, Periodic Inspection Report, are required to drive motorhomes in Europe. Are these part of a habitation check or separate tests? Can your vehicle be impounded by the police if you don't have annual certificates proving the electrics and gas have been checked?
I was not aware that it's a legal requirement to have this done to be able to use a motorhome abroad. I'm not aware of that. It may be, and I know this is the case in Germany and apparently Switzerland, that you have to have a recent gas safety check, a gas certificate, to use a campsite, and German folks are being asked for this. This is, though, officially only applying to people in Germany, and I'm told by Kat of Wandering Bird fame in Switzerland. She's had some followers of hers said that they were asked in Switzerland. It's not. The rules seem to not apply to us Brits, but at the end of the day, if a campsite is asking you and you're British for your gas certificate or an EICR, then you can't stay there if you haven't got it. You're going somewhere else, aren't you? It's down to the campsite, and it's up to them. The test itself is normally a bolt-on to a hab check, and I think the NCC want it done every 3 years. But many workshops doing habitation checks don't offer an EICR. I've spoken to some that didn't even know what it was. So it is an NCC issued test. Our friends at Bristol Caravans do offer this. There is a charge for it, and there will be approved workshop schemes that are aware of it that will do it for you. And you can find out more about this specifically in a previous episode. It was a few years ago now, and it was called What a Great Habitation Check Looks Like. And I was joined by Oakley from Bristol Caravans, and we went through a hab check and the EICR, so you can find out more there.
And NCC stands for?
National Caravan Council.
Sue Noel is in Kidderminster. I wonder if you can help. We have a Swift Contiki 649, which is a tag axle. Our V5 stated 2-axle rigid vehicle. I assumed it should be a 3-axle rigid vehicle, so sent off the V5 to be rectified. However, it's been returned stating 2-axle rigid vehicle. I'm wondering if this will be a problem when travelling in Europe with the whole Darsgo and Go box. Have I got that right? Darsgo?
You have got that right,
yeah. I know your paperwork has to be in order and match your vehicle. Any help would be greatly appreciated. P.S., Sue says, I spoke with DVLA and was told if there are 2 wheels, one each side, over the cab, then it's a 2-axle. But I'm not convinced.
Eh? That is a strange answer from the DVLA. It was great that you managed to speak to them. Two axle under the cab, or it says over the cab. That's 1 axle across the front. So this is peculiar. So yeah, you have a 6-wheeled motorhome. The back wheels are often deemed a dormant axle or lazy axle because they don't drive the vehicle, and in fact none of the back wheels drive the vehicle. That additional wheels are bolted on by aftermarket converters Alco, so they're not part of the original vehicle because the chassis is extended by Alco. But I would say I wouldn't panic about this. I would be checking the main issue is your registration, the VIN number, and that the weight are all correct, more than the number of axles.
Thanks very much, Noel. Much appreciated. How do people get in touch then,
Yeah,
Matt?
please do. Head to mhmp.info/ask Matt. You can fill out the form, we'll read the question, or hit the orange button and record it. And remember, tell us where you are.
You can join our new Facebook group. It's called Chat with Motorhome Matt, and you'll find it at mhmp.info/chat.
And if you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory, which you can find at mhmp.info/approved.
And remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, and also subscribe. It makes a difference on YouTube. That's Steph Newbury, the Group Director at Warranty Solutions Group. And sorry, I nearly said L. Whoops. We get thrown off YouTube for that.